have to do something.
We don't ask for spring break.
Tonight,
we don't promote it. We don't encourage it. We just endure it.
A desperate outcry.
No matter how much presence that you have out there, that really, for the most part, the prevailing sentiment is that it doesn't deter the criminal activity.
After 5 people were shot in just 48 hours and several police officers were injured.
It was like an ongoing pow, pow, pow.
Now a state of emergency for spring break in Miami Beach.
We can't endure this anymore. We just simply can't.
A big part of that state of emergency is a curfew for later this week.
CBS 4's Bobeth Yates joins us live from South Beach with more on what that means. Bobeth.
Well, Carly and Elliot, it may be calm right now, but over the weekend it was a lot more hectic. And as you mentioned, coming Thursday, it may be a curfew implemented to keep people off the streets.
It is horribly sad that we are all standing here because of the cowardly acts of random people.
Miami Beach City Manager Elena Hudak says she's fed up with the large crowds that flock to the beach for spring break and the violence that come with it.
My first priority as the city manager of Miami Beach is to provide for public safety. We had 2 random shootings of innocent bystanders this weekend. Even with all of our planning efforts and all of the resources that we have dedicated and prepared for, including an additional 80 officers from Miami-Dade Police, a 30-member multi-agency task force, we had this horrific event this weekend.
This is the chaos that occurred after one of those shootings. In total, over the weekend, 5 people were shot, and Police Chief Richard Clemens says one of those incidents happened right next to an officer.
Gunfire was 10 feet away from an officer that was on an ATV that had to dive off of his ATV in order to get behind it because he didn't know where the gunfire was coming from. That's a problem.
And with officers not being able to control the crowds, city officials say they had no choice but to declare a state of emergency, which includes limiting activity on the street from 23rd Street to the north all the way south to South Point Drive, and then from the ocean to the bay.
Signing of an executive order that's going to implement a curfew, a midnight curfew beginning Wednesday night, Thursday morning at 12:01, going through the weekend.
Galver says the city commission will hold a special meeting Tuesday to approve the curfew and possibly vote to extend it for a second week during the same time period. And while residents like Mitch say they support the curfew, he adds more needs to be done, including the implementation of the 2 a.m. last call rollback, but is now held up in court because of a lawsuit.
I've said it on the record before the lawsuits were filed. Exceptions will lead to lawsuits, and that's exactly what happened. Injunctions granted. It needs to be applied fairly across the board, 2 a.m. citywide.
Now, in addition, 4 officers also received minor injuries during the course of the weekend, but officials would not disclose how those injuries occurred or exactly what those injuries are. Live in Miami Beach, Bobeth Yates, CBS 4 News Tonight.
Bobeth, thank you.